Mm-hmm.
Do you need graphic design services? Or maybe you need branding for your business? How about multimedia production services? Contact Browns Media and Graphics at 876-877-1870. Browns Media and Graphics, developing your ideas, creating your style.
Thank you for coming on this evening. We're going to speak about the security forces and the Denham town citizens. With me, I have Mr. Rupert Francis, captain and retired JDF soldier. He's also the head of the Jamaica Diaspora Crime Investigation and Prevention Task Force. Welcome to Make We Talk, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tavares, for having me. I trust I would, yes, make we talk. I like it. Yes.
I'm pretty much sure you have seen a recent video that is circulating on social media pertaining to what there's two videos circulating, wherein the members of the JDF fighting off citizens in the sense, or using their pistols to beat citizens. What is your views on that, Dr. Francis?
Well, to be quite honest with you, I was amazed at the occurrence when I saw that, because I served many years ago, and that certainly was not how we would handle the civilian population. In fact, when I served, it was, we were revered, and we were seen as protectors of the public. So quite naturally, for someone like me seeing that, knowing the laws that govern us in our operations out there, and we are there as aid to the civil power, which is the police. Okay? So the police takes the first, and then we are called in. With Zozos, it's a little bit different because it's now an act of the government, and is the head of the security ministry, I would imagine, and in fact the entire government, that says, look, things have gotten to the stage that we need to have soldiers out there for a while. We never stayed that long.
Yeah.
So when this happens, it shows a disconnect between the civilian population and the soldiers. And you have to ask yourself, have we overplayed our hand? Have we stayed out there too long? Are the soldiers suffering from issues such as post-traumatic stress disorder? Are the citizens developing a distrust for the soldiers? Or, as we said in Jamaica, are they carrying feelings? Because let me tell you this. In all my career, I've seen it recently, but I've never seen citizens attack soldiers. They may attack a few police, but they're never attacking soldiers.
Yeah.
And I dare say the reaction of the soldier, or the soldiers, because it was not one person, the one who kicked the pregnant woman, that to me is, man, I'm telling you, that hit me hard.
Yes.
Because I had to ask myself a couple of questions. If a man, knowing that a woman is in that condition, no matter how she is behaving, can you respond like that in public, knowing full well that you might be photographed? So the question I ask is, what would he do in private? As regards the military, let me address that now. Let me address the military. Our position would be he has conduct without prejudice and military discipline would be the charge that he would be leveled against him, because he had no right. The girl was holding on to the other girl after a while, and he still proceeded. He kicked. And then he drew his rifle, and I'm saying, oh my God, no, he wouldn't. But that is very distressing, my friend. Very, very distressing from my perspective. And the population should be distressed. But there is a disconnect, let me tell you something. And this is something that has been simmering for a very long time, and we need to address it.
So what do you think that the hierarchy of the Jamaica Defense Force should do?
Well, there are two actions. One will be done by the government itself, I think through Indicom. I'm not sure which body they're going to use. I think Indicom is for the police. I'm not sure it's for soldiers. I never really, but they will be investigating from that perspective. But also, once something like that comes to fore, it is investigated inside the JDF, as was indicated by the JDF High Command. I was the head of the military police. And so we would normally be the persons to investigate. And before I came along, because I was the first security officer for the Jamaica Defense Force, they used to have it done by, various companies, wherever the guy came from, wherever the soldier came from. And we would investigate it, and we would decide, whether to charge him or not for the offense. Okay? But to me, to be quite honest with you, my friend, the soldiers that we had then would have had more reserve. I am wondering if these soldiers are either too young or they lack a certain amount of training. So, but I know the JDF training system, but the question we may have to ask now is maturity. We have to maybe add some additional, the police too. Let's be quite fair and so on. In terms of, I believe that the police have been given basket to carry water personally. I heard what the commissioner said the other day was totally wrong. That he did not feel that is because of the lack of remuneration that policemen are corrupt. Well, Mr. Commissioner, when your children are hungry at home and there's a crisis and you can't fill it, and you have no money, what are you going to do, Mr. Commissioner? That would be my question for him. But anyway, that's another matter. But let's deal with the soldier first. What's your view on that? What is your view on whether, okay, let me pose it to you now. You saw what happened. As a civilian watching on, and other civilians out, and I would encourage the public who's listening to you and the public who has seen this to tell us what they think, because there is let me say this. I have noticed that whenever police or anybody is trying to arrest someone in Jamaica, there's an altercation. Civilians and the citizens are coming to intervene.
Yes.
So that means that something has broken down, right? And so we have to fix that.
Dr. Francis, I think the morals, values, and attitude in Jamaica has gone down to the lowest it has ever been. And I was speaking to some young people a couple of days ago, and there's a young lady in the conversation who said that the pregnant woman has no right to come up into the soldier space, because at that time soldiers are trained to kill. So if he draw the gun or something of the sort and shoot, maybe he's gonna say his life is at risk.
Yes, Mr. Tavares, can we take a short break and I'll get back to you?
Yes.
Can we take a short break?
Yes.
Yeah, a quick break. Thank you. Good.
Let's mute your we do apologize. We're gonna take a short commercial break. We will be right back here and make we talk with Dr. Francis. We're speaking about what happened within the JDF. What's going on within the Jamaica Defense Force? Why is it that our soldiers are going out on the streets and they're having altercations with citizens, in particular the Denham area. Dr. Francis, are you back now? Oh Lord, we have lost him here there now. We do apologize for that. I think we have lost Dr. Francis. Let's hope he come back on. We are speaking to Dr. Francis. He's a former captain of the Jamaica Defense Force. He's also the diaspora. He is a member of the Jamaican diaspora in New York. He is a well-known Jamaican. We're going to get him back. We do apologize for that. I think we have lost the feed with Dr. Francis. You know, what is going on in our country, we have to be very careful. We're trying to figure out is the values and attitude that we have in Jamaica, is it gone? Dr. Rupert Francis is a captain of the Jamaica Defense Force. He is the head of the Jamaica Diaspora Crime Investigation Task Force. We're also going to join with us pretty soon former FBI agent Wilfred Rattigan, and also Mr. Marcel Clarke, chairman of the St. Thomas Crime Prevention Unit. They're going to join us pretty soon. We do apologize for losing Dr. Francis. I don't know what happened. He asked for a quick break. We took a quick break and now something went wrong. But we're going to take a quick break from here. Oh, apparently we're going to have him back here now. We do welcome back Dr. Francis for coming back on. Jamaica, the land of wood and water. Jamaica, wherein a lot of people love to go to Jamaica, but our citizens are at risk. Our citizens, right now, we're trying to say to ourselves, are we safe? If the security forces are coming down to secure us, and then all hell is breaking loose. All hell is breaking loose. We're trying to figure out if the powers may be is welcome back, Dr. Francis.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
back with you.
Welcome back to Make We Talk here. We do apologize for that.
Yes, apologize for that because yes, you're saying something. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask you a question, Dr. Francis. Mm-hmm. What do you think? I heard a member of parliament is saying that a Jamaican footballer, 18-year-old, was gunned down and nobody demonstrate about it. But as the security forces come into Denham town, some altercation happening and people's demonstrating. Is it that the members of parliament or is it that the government is putting the soldiers out there where they are not to be out there? Is it that they're trying to say, okay, only the soldiers can fight crime?
No. You asked me a question before that. So the one that somebody's saying that the pregnant woman should not have been there. You remember that one?
Right.
No,
yes.
let me I think that's a very important question.
Mm-hmm.
A very important. You have to understand that Jamaicans can be anywhere, and soldiers are trained not to just kill people like that. Soldiers have to operate in civil situations. Yes, we are called in at the last moment, but of late, because we do not have the complements of the police, the soldiers have to play a paramilitary role.
Mm-hmm.
So I would ask that person if they felt it was justified for that person, pregnant or not, but more so pregnant,
mm-hmm.
that they should not have had the right to they can protest. They should not be she should not have gone into the soldier's face. But the question I'd like, if they were that soldier, how would they have behaved? And I'd like anybody to answer that question. Because I'm telling you.
Hold on for me, Dr. Francis. If you want to take part in this discussion, you can call WhatsApp 876-782-8535. That's 876-782-8235. You can call and take part in this discussion with Dr. Francis and myself. The topic is security forces versus the citizens of Denham Town. Go ahead, Dr. Francis.
But it's not versus, you see, I think you should see Denham Town as a microcosm of the entire Jamaica.
Yes.
It could be anywhere and it could be anyone. All right? And you have to understand that you can't treat people like animals.
Mm-hmm.
And you shouldn't even treat animals like that. If you had done that on animal in the United States, you would, first of all, I don't think your foot would touch ground at all. You would be arrested, ostracized, and this would be all over the media. So therefore, I mean, Jamaica is no different. Yes, what the question I'd ask the person who was asking that question is, why do you think the person felt that way in about the soldier? Why did they think that they had to intervene? Remember, you know, a member of the public, whether he was, we're not sure if he was guilty or not, he was shot recently, right? And this, I think, is overexposure of soldiers. Soldiers were not meant to be in a situation like that. And anybody can argue they want with me. I have no problem. Because I know that they're supposed to be there for shorter periods, curfews, whatever, you know, cordon searches and what have you, but not in a zone for months. Okay. First, familiarity breeds contempt, for example. Is it that the person, the girl or the girls are in the area felt that the soldiers didn't deserve their respect? And the reason you have to ask yourself the question, why?
Or should we ask ourselves the question, did the security forces go inside there with a bullyism and don't show the citizens any respect?
That's true too. And this did not happen overnight.
No.
Right? But we cannot, okay, yes, the behavior of the young lady or the young woman or whatever she is, we can call her whatever we want to call her, was not right. Let's just get that clear. It was not right. However, right, the soldier can defend himself if a missile was being thrown. But this was a woman who was coming towards him without any weapon.
Mm-hmm.
And the only weapon she had was a baby in her belly, which he could see. And she was angry. So the question is, if it were his sister, his mother, a member of his family, is that how you would deal with it? And you must ask one more question. If he dealt with it like that in the public, how would he do it in the press? And you know that Jamaicans are going to be upset about this, you know. Right? Because some women believe that they must be beaten and you don't love them if you don't beat them.
There you go. That's the belief of some of the Jamaican women.
And I'm telling you, that is so wrong. I have 8 daughters, and I'm not ashamed to tell anybody. And I dare a man touch any one of them. Because I am telling you, whatever they do, they are going to do it back and worse. And they are nice, genteel women, young women, professionals. But I have taught them not to take nobody's whooping. If you want to take it, give it back.
But we need to ask this question also, Dr. Francis. Is it that the morals of the both security forces in Jamaica is going down, that the citizens of Jamaica has no respect for them?
You know, let's just be straight and let's just be honest. The moral fiber of our country is under question. When you have young men, young women, policemen, all different types of people engage in illicit activity like scamming, and it is considered as if they were like Robin Hood. That is not good. It's not sustainable. Because there are people who are benefiting, and you can vex with it until you're blue in the face. Listen to me. I grew up around ganja. Every one of us, I would imagine, I know what it smell like, look like, whatever. I never handle it, too tough, but at the same time. But right now in Jamaica, there's hard drugs. There's gun running. They just found a man in Montego. So the more you ask me a question that is answered by the facts, it seems to me that we are in a period of moral decay.
From the top come straight down.
Every which way you take it. Okay. And let me say this to you. If we love Jamaica, truly love Jamaica, we must tell ourselves the truth about Jamaica. Because if you have a child, and that child come into your house with something expensive that you did not buy for them, you should find out where that came from. Or you will be at fault. Or one day, you're going to find that child dead. Because they might trouble something for some. Let me make it quite clear. You know how many young people have gone with scammers and they have died as a result? And people are talking, oh my God, he never troubled nobody. That is not true. That's not true.
But Dr. Francis, is it that our country, or the leaders of our country, has lost respect for the people of Jamaica? So the people of Jamaica has no respect for neither them nor the security forces?
Well, that's a big question. That's a big question, Mr. Tavares. A huge question. And I'm going to refer you to a study by Dr. Herbert Gale. I don't know if you've heard about him.
Dr. Herbert
but he's
Gale?
a chief, Herbert Gale. I sent you some stuff about him.
Okay.
He's a chief victimologist, I think, in Jamaica. That's what he did. And he did it anthropological criminality. There is a history and the development of criminology. And let me tell you about what I learned from him, both from him and other evidentiary matters that were brought in front of me. 1962, we are celebrating 60 years of independence. But in 1962, when he went to the University of the West Indies, there were about 90 males and 10 women. So we became alarmed that the women were left behind. And we started to get grants and this and that for the women. And guess what? It turned around. And now, if you find 10 men in a cohort, you're lucky. So what happened then? The women with the children who could possibly have an education, they said, no, guess what happened? You boys, you can't get pregnant. You're going over this. We're going to take care of your sister. And they left the boys behind. And that's what has happened. So the boys were left to fend for themselves.
So what you're saying then, that females are more trying to get education than the male?
Yes, because there's more access to, since 1962, according to Gale's research. And this is a fact. Women were given more chances, opportunities than men, because they said the boys couldn't get pregnant. So that's why you see more street boys washing car windows and what have you and so on and so forth. And in fact, when a woman had a child for a man and the man abandoned her, she would abandon the child literally.
Mm-hmm.
She may still like the child or love the child, but she's not going to give him the attention she would give to the girl child, or especially whoever is looking after the children. And remember, you know, I don't know, you look a little young for me, but in our days, yes, it's true. You're going like you're old, but you're not. The fact of the matter is that it took a village to raise a child.
Yeah.
You could be in your village. I don't know if it's St. Louis or wherever you come from. And
The
that
girl.
child,
I'm from the grill.
Well, see, I mean, almost same place on the other side.
Indeed.
You know, but you were in that village growing up in Negril.
Yes.
And you did something wrong. And a neighbor saw you. Not only you might have gotten a whooping from your neighbor, but they go and tell your parents and you get another whooping.
Tell you something. I was so sheltered that if I misbehave on the road and somebody chastised me and my adopted parents or my parents heard about it, they'll bring me back to the same place and give me another whipping again.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I remember my son walked into something, some supermarket in here in the States and take up something. And I marched him back. I made him give it back in front, you know. Yes, I was embarrassed. He was embarrassed, but guess what? It never happened again.
We need to ask the question, though, of the government. Is Zozo working?
I would say that to some extent, Zozo is working. But familiarity breeds contempt. Right? As I said before. And I think that the soldiers are overexposed. Right? And we need to fix that. You are a male, I'm a male. And you know what's going to happen when you have a guy in a situation, in like Trenchtown or wherever. And he's been there for a couple of weeks and he has not been home, or he's been back and forth. And the girl's going to start to hang around and this, that, and the other. We don't know what is happening in those situations. And some of these young men get carried away, and the women, so there might be disrespect harboring.
You know, I heard former Commissioner of Police and former Chief of Defense Staff, where Admiral Harden-Lewin said,
yes,
that when he was in charge of the JDF, he told his boys or his, the gentlemen of the JDF not to go out there and look at your friends. They are not your friends.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
No, listen to me. I know Harden-Lewin very well because he and I are from Otres.
Right.
And although he's correct, I wouldn't do it that way. Because we're taught, even in a military situation, that we have to rely on friendly forces. If you want to win a battle, you can't do it by yourself without intelligence. And you will never get intelligence from Denham. Is Denham town?
Yes, sir.
You'll never. Because of the relationship between the people, the soldiers and the people at Denham town. However, go over to Trenchtown. You notice this is not happening over there. Because I know that Dr. Henry Morgan, I spent a day with him down there. And I'm telling you, I've never felt safer in a place in a long time like I spent down there. It was amazing. Denham, is Denham town?
Yes, sir. I want you to listen to what,
because of the relationship between the
former
people,
Commissioner
the
of Police and
the
former Chief of the Jamaica Defense Force said.
However, go over to Trenchtown.
What the video does not tell me is the background leading up to the circumstances. It doesn't tell me anything about the soldiers, in a sense, what led up to it. And so I'd rather not deal too much with the specifics of it, except to say it doesn't look good. doesn't look good. And I'm quite sure that the Jamaica Defense Force will get to the bottom of this. If there are things that are lingering and simmering, they have to be discovered and cauterized quickly. If you just go back and look at certain communities where people are deliberately set up to provoke over our history, we have had confrontations that has been sparked maybe by the actions of the security forces. Maybe sometimes the security forces are acting properly and somebody wants them not to do their job. Let us not forget May of 2010. I don't think people went out there on their own volition. There was a woman cursing out the security forces, cursing out the soldiers and the police. But at the same time, every time she saw a moment, she was kind of pouting her mouth, pointing in a direction. She was out there doing what she was forced to do or had to do, but at the same time, she was sending a signal that the person they were looking for is somewhere up there. We have to look at these communities too. What are we doing to transform these communities? I don't know about this building of relationships. I don't buy into that. No. I always tell my subordinates when I deploy them, I want you to be friendly, but not to make friends. Friendly and professional, but don't make friends. I'm not sending you to make friends. And I maintain that. In Jamaica, we have this culture of dissing. So a citizen saying to a soldier, you're trained not to respond to those kind of provocation.
So if they were trained not to respond to those provocation, why did the member of the JDF end up kicking the pregnant lady? Actually, there's two videos going around, Dr. Francis.
I've seen all of the videos. Let me say this to you. I heard what Commander Rear Admiral Lewin said, and he's fairly correct, except this. And he has given his edict, he was head not to make friends. I agree with you, don't make, but he did say, build relationships.
Yes.
That's different. And the lady was pushing her mouth out to show where the guy was or whoever you're looking for. That is not going to happen when you kick a pregnant woman. So I don't have to see no video again. Every time I see that, that just hurts me. I am saying they were not trained properly. I'm saying if they were trained properly, this soldier is to be held to boot. There's no question in my mind. Okay? No, he has a different type of training. He had sea training, etc., and other. But I was a military policeman, and I'm telling you, this young man, unfortunately, he may be a nice guy, but on that occasion, he lost it. Maybe it's too much exposure. What I'm trying to say now is maybe what he suggested in the last, maybe we need to kind of wheel and come again. We need to do interim training because there's a thing called community policing. So maybe we now have to introduce community soldiering. Right? So let me say this to you, my friend. We cannot continue to behave as if the population is our enemy. Carte blanche. It is not. There are some, but I can tell you this, and we should be alarmed. The rate at which it is going and the guns are coming into Jamaica. Can you imagine, and I hate to even say this publicly, Alison, because it is scary. The police and the soldiers have the upper hand now. They cannot lose the upper hand. Our laws are foolish. They're not being implemented. There are people in prison living better than you and me, drinking Shivers Regal. I know you look like a rich man. How much Shivers Regal you drank this week?
I don't know. I don't drink those things.
The point I'm trying to make is this. They cost a lot of money, like $200 a bottle. And these guys are having parties in prison, sending out flyers. So, Mr. Commissioner, so Mr. Correctioner, so Mr. Prime Minister, this is a serious indictment on our system.
Hold on for me. Hold the point there, Dr. Francis. If anyone who is listening and watching this program and you want to call and take part in this discussion, you can call 876-782-8235, WhatsApp calls only. That's 876-782-8235, WhatsApp call only, please. Call in and have a discussion. Maybe have a discussion pertaining to what is going on, not only in Denham town, but also in the wider Jamaica. Go ahead, Dr. Francis.
I'd love to also suggest that somebody could text in the WhatsApp, and just leave a text, a question. They like answered, if you don't mind me saying so, because that might be easier than them calling in sometimes. Some people don't want to be heard, but they want to be read. So I just want to share that with you.
If you're on our YouTube channel, please subscribe, because we're going to continue more discussions pertaining to the security forces in Jamaica. We're going to have discussion pertaining to the corruption that's going on in Jamaica and the government entities. And not only that, we're going to have discussion pertaining to Wade versus Roe. Should we have abortion? Should we amend the abortion law in Jamaica? Or what should we do? That's for another discussion. But right now we're speaking about the security forces and Denham town. You were saying something, Dr. Francis.
I was saying to you that we have to find a way to, what should I say, rational, to make sure that this type of behavior does not happen. It is, listen to me, you guys have just seen these, but there have been videos of these people being attacked, police being attacked by civilians, right? And I've been saying, how is this possible? How have we allowed it? Why have we not developed some community policing, right? I mean, look, I do believe that the police has been given basket to carry water, right?
But Dr. Francis, we need to ask ourselves this too, What? If the government don't have any respect for the security forces because they're paying them chip and halfpenny. So that is why the whole disrespect is happening from that end too.
Well, here's the situation. A policeman who, let me ask you a question, is getting that type of money that he cannot buy lunch, and he has to go to members of the public to get lunch and all that stuff. What is going to happen after a while to that person's authority? It's going to be totally gone. Because the same persons who are doing stuff, he has to go to them for sustenance. So what you've just said to me does not make sense for them to not to be paid properly. Right? People cannot survive and they have responsible jobs. How are they going to do it? I'm not encouraging stealing. I'm not encouraging, but it's impossible. And the commissioner said the other day, quite clearly, that there were 8 policemen indicted over the gang trial that they have. And he said categorically he doesn't think it's a pay. Well, Mr. Commissioner, what else? Why are they seeking? Are they just greedy? Or there are men and women who have responsibilities?
But the commissioner can't say anything, Mr. Dr. Francis. He's the highest paid commissioner in the history of this country.
Let me put it to you this way. I don't want to go after the commissioner money and his remuneration. All I want to know is that the people who are doing the work out there on a day-to-day basis can sustain themselves and hold their head up with pride. And if there's a Jamaican who does not understand or does not believe that, raise your hands now, because I would tell you are not a Jamaican. Because how do you want to be remunerated? If you're a family man, as most policemen are, and some of them have too much family to us, if you know what I mean. The fact of the matter is, though, that you have to, if you're a responsible man or woman, you're going to take care of them, aren't you?
Indeed.
So therefore, and you're going to do what it takes to take care of them. So before it comes to that, pay the police. Do not allow them to become beggars and hangers on. The morale of the police is zip. They came out, they did not, if you remember, they walked off the job last year sometime.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been talking about it. They are not the lowest paid, but they are paid, the firemen are paid more than the police, for example.
But Dr. Francis, the question needs to be asked. If the members of parliament can go to parliament and raise their salary at 100% without even asking the citizens of this country, why is it that they can't raise the security forces salary? But and the broader question is this: why is it that they can't put minimum wage in this country to $15,000 a month or a week?
Hold on. Do you know what the justification is for not raising the pay of the police? It's so many of them, it will cost billions of dollars.
But are they getting money from the United States government to fund the security?
They're getting money. Listen to me. I just cannot understand how that type of payment can be justified. I just don't understand it. I just can't understand it. Because I believe that if you want good work, you have to be prepared to pay for it. Would you go to a mechanic who charges you $100 when he should charge you $1,000, and and you're confident about the work that he has done afterwards? No. So why should you do it with a policeman? A policeman is flesh and blood too. They have to, you know. So that's the situation. So government, listen. You mean telling me, asking me about government.
You are in charge of the Diaspora Crime
Intervention and Prevention Task Force.
Yes.
Yes.
You're in charge of it. And
yes.
Can you tell me how much money the American government, or maybe the Canadian government, or whatever government, give to Jamaica every year for security, to help with the security forces in Jamaica, to help fight crime and stuff?
Well, I do not have a figure for what they give every year. I know the other day the Prime Minister went and negotiated some funds, which became a substantial amount from the Vice President. I know the USAID has a certain amount of money that they allocate towards helping the security forces as well. There are many other sources of funding. And I can't understand how come they cannot find money to pay the police. Look, man. Look, the police, the tourists coming to this, more and more, even on the COVID, people are coming. They said that the country is under stress, right? But I see more BMWs, Porsches, and all that in Jamaica. So the question I'm asking you, how come we can, and we're building places for that luxury homes, and you cannot find money to pay an essential service like the police? No, man, something's wrong with that picture. And so therefore, Mr. Minister of Finance, please reel and come again. That I cannot understand that.
But that begs to ask the question, Dr. Francis, that maybe what we need to do, you as a member of the diaspora, head of the diaspora, you know, maybe what we need to do is ask for an independent audit in all the money that they're getting from governments around the world. Because something not right somewhere. Something fundamentally wrong somewhere.
Brother Tavares,
They
my
can
view
spend
is,
$1 billion of taxpayers' money on election, you know. $1 billion of Jamaican taxpayers' money to an election in this country.
you know, what I want to find out is how much money was used the other day to print the money, the new money.
There you go. There you go. I have been asking the question. Is it that when the Minister of Finance went into Parliament and have this grand announcement, he didn't know that Labawa Delarue, or whatever it name, that is owned by the owned by the royal family. He didn't know that there was some confidentiality law or clause.
Listen to me. Let me explain something to you.
Is it that we're not switching from the whole crime thing, listeners and viewers? But this came up. The government of Jamaica decided to put some new dead people on the money. Are them dead and gone, you know. Some of them wrecked this country too.
Listen,
and they decided to put them on it.
Let me explain something. This thing has not, and I will say in favor of the government for the time being. What we're going through did not happen overnight.
Mm-hmm.
It has been happening for years. And I think that we need to start running the country like a business, right? Where you have people who are accounting for the funds, how it is spent, and what it is spent on.
Mm-hmm.
And it cannot be the government alone that is deciding how the money is to be spent, because we want better policemen. And where are they going to come from? Better people. And if we are not spending money to develop our young people, all of what we're talking about is going to be a recurring decimal until it explodes.
Because some of the young people are saying, you know, that we only talk, and nothing is being done. And they're sick and fed of the whole talking. I was in a Twitter group a couple of days ago, and there was a young lady who was frustrated with the whole scenario. We just chat, and nothing is being done.
Well, I don't know if you've seen my boy. It hurts.
It does.
To talk about these things, because some people think that I talk about it because I don't love my country. But it is the love of my country that has caused me to form the Jamaica Diaspora Crime Intervention and Prevention, a task force. And I want you to understand this. Some people want me to change the name to Peace Task for Foolishness. Change to what? Which peace you're talking about? It's not war. It is intervening and preventing crime. That means that we have to lay a foundation to stop crime nip it in the bud. How do we do this? We have to start a new movement. You can do it. You can only do it by persuasion, or should only do it by persuasion. If you want to do it another style, go to Cuba, go to any other totalitarian state, and they have another way of dealing with it. But it's not going to work in Jamaica because some people will not allow it, because they do not want to be subject to certain laws, and they can do almost anything. They literally are above the law. Right?
You know,
there are good people in Jamaica.
Hmm.
But unfortunately, it seems to me that they are afraid of the bad people in Jamaica. Even though they are a smaller unit, one bad apple can affect the entire bunch. So I think that we should we should start at a place where we know it is at. And how we develop a strategy, have a plan to fix it. I don't believe in commenting on government and bashing government and so on. I believe that if I am saying something, I must have a solution or something that can solve. There are areas in Jamaica that are crime-free right now. Crime-free. And
where
we
that
should
is that?
ask,
Where that is?
okay. There are 5 areas, for example, in Augustown. One is called African Gardens. Then there's another one called, anyway, I don't remember the 5 regions, but there are 5 in Augustown. And I can tell you, one of them has no crime at all. No murders. Not even break-ins and whatever, none. And normally Augustowns are volatile place. You know why? Because the citizens have come together and said they've had enough, and they've taken charge, and they're trying to resolve their issues at that level. Right? They're trying to keep their children in school. They're trying to get them into uniform groups. They're trying to get help to do things to push them, and I've heard the member of parliament in the meetings with them. Now, if this can happen in one region, why can't it happen everywhere? There are no murders in some parts of Westmoreland. There are no murders in some parts, in fact, Negril. There's a group there in Negril. They have taken over the children, and I am telling you, brother, as I stand here, yes. Because we have projects, we partner with a lot of people. And it is possible. People are sick and tired of being sick and tired with what is going on. They are afraid. And some people don't want you to talk like that.
Look, I am here sitting down listening to you, and I know a lot of people there on YouTube listening and they're sharing and whatever. But we need to ask the question, where did this crime monster come from? Did the politicians of yesterday create this crime monster in this country? Where the underpaid the security forces to fight crime?
Tavares, your name is not Tavares, So be careful how you deal with the politics. Let me tell you something, Mr. Tavares. You and I have a very good idea how crime starts. I mean, political crime, any crime starts in Jamaica. But what has happened is an erosion of our values, right? Regardless of where it came from. And I was saying, if the head of the stream dirty, the bottom cannot be clean. So I'm saying to you, we need to take back our children, Brother Tavares. We need to go back and get them back before it is too late. And those persons out there who are talking that we are harping on these things too much. Some things, they better, listen to me. They are sending, some of these people are sending money down there to commit crimes. Let me tell you something, I have never seen a gun take up a gun and say, I'm going to shoot you.
No.
It takes a person, an individual, to do that. So when you send a gun to somebody else, you have a reason. And no little man can buy so much gun. So there's tricks and trades and matchboxing business. Let's get down to the brass tacks. If you're dealing with it, let's deal with it one by one, and let us look at the root causes. Let's get some empirical data, maybe we can put up behind you or what have you, and show the people what we're talking about so they'll start to believe us. and not just complain. I'm sorry for that young man. I wish I knew him. I could take him and counsel him that you do not treat ladies like that. There are other better things to do with females than to kick them in the stomach. So obviously he didn't learn that. And so I don't have to see no other picture. I don't have to see no other, the groups coming together. I don't have to see that anymore. What I'm saying is, it is in the purview now, I'm going to mention government now, of the government to do something about it. Because the Prime Minister made a good speech the other day. Now. Maybe you're happy to hear or not happy. I was happy to hear it.
What was that speech, sir?
He said that the security forces is not to beat up on the citizens, but also the reverse, not the truth. The citizens must not abuse the security forces and think they can get away with it. That young lady needs a serious talking to.
Yes, she does. I think
right? She has put her life on the line. And I mean, I remember though they were beating up this older woman, and this little young boy don't look like him having as much sense. Like he looks like he's whatever, you know, not totally there. And they beat the guy in the red shirt.
Yes.
And it was like his mother, and they threw him in the back. Poor little guy, you look in his eyes, he was dazed, you never know what was happening. And the guys take the rifle and beat about 5 of them. All of them need to be arrested.
Who needs to be arrested? The guys who they were beating are the soldiers themselves?
No, the soldiers.
Okay.
And how they spoke to the people. If you come across us, so we're going to shot you. Yes, they were afraid. But it needn't have gotten to that point. Did they know how to behave? And I'm wondering if there was a non-commissioned officer or somebody there in charge of them. I heard something mentioned about Russia. Mr. Putin's dilemma is that his army does not have non-commissioned officers. They only have officers. So them kill off the officers, them now nobody to lead the troops. We in the British, although they cost the British all the way, we have a system broken down where different levels of command.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not going to happen. So I don't know who was there. If there was an NCO there, then that NCO has failed.
They have questions to answer.
Oh, God, yes. Whoever sent them out there with questions to answer, the chief of staff has questions to answer. She just came on all the same. You know? But I saw pictures of people in the JDF having dancers there and so on, women, you know, coming and dancing with soldiers in uniform. And I mean, come on. Them said not everything is good for talk. And that is, you don't make people see you in those compromising positions. That is not good.
Because even when the soldier was beating the woman with the rifle, the other soldiers holding onto him and they was holding onto him. In other words, there was nobody protecting themselves. So anything could have happened.
But hold on. When he was beating the guy with the people with the rifle, does he know that the rifle could have fired off if there was a round in the breech?
That is what a young lady on Twitter was saying to us too, you know. And I see where one Jessica is saying that discussion like this is necessary. And she's very young, and you know, she's in her 20s. And I think what they do, you know, they sit down and they look what is going on in Jamaica, and I think they're fed up. They're fed up of the whole system. What is going on?
But here's what I'm saying to Jessica now, and others like her. We have to get up and speak up. We have to speak up and we have to support people who are doing things. We need the support. Because, you know, we could have this conversation and everybody say, because the government feels that we are not doing anything. You know, what hurts me is that some people feel that they just can come here and give us like a sweet talk in the diaspora. I would say, yeah. Please, ladies and gentlemen, we are smart people. We know BS when we hear it. Do you know that some Jamaicans they want our money, but they don't want us? They think that we are not important enough to Jamaica.
You free to talk, Dr. Francis. Both political party, Dr. Francis, need the diaspora. And they need the money, but they don't want the diaspora in the sense to come to sit on the table.
Hold on, let's correct something. You said my party?
No. I said both political party. Come on, I wouldn't say, come on.
No. Listen, there were times in my life that I had taken a stand,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not ashamed of that. Because I don't want to be a communist. And I thought we were going to be a communist at one stage. And I'm telling you, I stood up against that. Now I see some people, they don't have I don't even know if they understand why they're Jamaicans, right? And what is a Jamaican? Brother Tavares, is only God can tell me that this nation is not a designated chosen nation.
We are a chosen nation,
Hold on. Wait. But I'm going to tell you the reason why. Most of us can hardly talk English according to English. And yet, we lead the world in music. All they're talking about rap all over the United States is we invented rap. The Beatles took our beat. Every other band, right, that you can think of in the 70s, 80s, took our beat. In a people of 2-point-something million people, nobody can run like us. And we even go on ice and prove them that we can stay on ice like them.
Indeed.
Right? There are more doctors, more medical and other doctors and people with degrees out in the diaspora than many other countries. It's a person who come to the United States and don't do well, have no ambition. They didn't come here to work hard. They come here to do something else, but not to work hard. But not if they are true Jamaican.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen a people. There are other nations there, but believe you me, I'm proud of our Jamaicans. So the question is, why can't they decide that we can make a difference if we come together and stop the beer, stop them from coming here and telling us foolishness and ask serious questions?
Because aren't they going to have some diaspora conference? It's not that listeners and viewers, it's not that we're drifting away from the conversation, but they're going to have a diaspora conference in June in Jamaica.
Yeah.
And they're going to go up there the whole bloody BS and chatting, play damn fundamental and lithocratical and counterfactual.
Well, look at the program. The program has 3 fundamental issues on it. And not one of them say anything about crime. Not one. Come to Jamaica, land of food and water. Anything you want, you can come to Jamaica. But nobody says that you might not be able to leave Jamaica as you came in. Luckily, it has not happened to any tourists so far because the man them smarter than that. You can't kill the goose that laid the golden egg. But I am telling you, as I start setting, and it's not that anybody has poisoned my mind. Listen, as I said before, I invest in Jamaica. And that just remind me, I should have made a call to about, something, an investment. No, I'm serious. Mm-hmm. And, so I'm just telling you, I am, go ahead talking. Let me just see if I can.
Yes. we are here talking to Dr. Rupert Francis. He is the head of the head of the Jamaica Diaspora Crime Invention and Protection Task Force in America. I tell you something, we're having a discussion pertaining to the crime situation in Jamaica. And we went off to say that, you know, the powers may be need that come to the diaspora for money. But when it comes on to
Yes, sir.
having the
Sorry
diaspora.
about that. Yes, you know, this it's interesting, but we're talking about the same subject. A doctor friend of mine.
Yeah. So,
You know?
Dr. Francis, what is our solution? If we have a government, we can hardly see your face now. Your face blocking out the
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
If we have a government that comes on both political party, and I know a lot of people are saying that I'm bashing. No, I'm not really bashing in the party, you know. But they were put there to lead, to govern our country. And if they don't have a crime plan for Jamaica, I mean, I don't know. See, they find how much millions of dollars in the Minister of National Security constituency. A plane, I heard Wilfred Rattigan rather, keep on saying that a plane invades Jamaica's airspace and nobody was caught.
Of course, that happened last year about October, and the people came out, and they came out of it was in down
St. Elizabeth.
Yeah, no, not St. Elizabeth. It was near Clarence.
Clarendon, rather, yes. Rocky Point, I think.
Rocky Point. And they came out, and the guys disappeared with everything inside. Only the shell was left. Let me say this to you, my friend.
I know they end up finding how much $1 million in St. James.
Listen to me. Why I'm not laughing at the situation. Why are you surprised? Listen to me. Scamming in Jamaica is so prolific. We're second only to Nigeria.
Wow.
That was the last report I got. Drugs are obviously running from South American countries through Jamaica and the other West Indian islands and what have you. And, you know, the transshipment. Mr. Rattigan said that there are 140 entry points, and somebody corrected him and said, no, there's about 240. Everywhere you go in
Jamaica?
In Jamaica, of course. It's porous, right? You don't have anybody to stop it. I don't even know if the Coast Guard boats are working.
But didn't they bought some brand new Coast Guard boats?
Did you hear what I said? I said, I don't even know. But I rather doubt it. Because remember, you know, if you have a boat and it's even working, you have to put fuel in it, and it's very costly. So I don't know why you're so surprised. Because you know, you always say, I'm being careful about what I say. But I have to be careful what I say. Because if I can't prove something,
true,
even if I know, and I can't call anybody's name if that person was not interdicted. But I'm telling you this, the USA and other entities are looking and watching. And sooner or later, you are going to get some very strange announcements. Because if you carry the bucket to the well often enough, one day the bottom is going to drop out. Right? And I suggest that the government begin to concentrate on spending money on developing the skills of the young people. We are dealing with intervention and prevention. That's what Jessica and all those persons listening, please send in your questions. Make your notes, because the fact of the matter is, unless we get intervention and prevention, this will not stop, and we would have wasted our breath and our time, our valuable time. So please, don't act surprised. Anything you can think of happening in Jamaica is happening in Jamaica. It's only that we do not have the wherewithal to prove it. And if we can prove it, right, it's not going to come to the light of day. I know our fact that an incident was taken, video was taken of an incident at a certain place. And 4 persons were working, only 4 persons. And when it was taken to the authorities, they said they can't make out anybody. But those are the only 4 persons that was, yeah. Okay. All right. So all this business of the gangs and be looking at the gangs and what have you, I think it's a big show. You know? I think it's a big show. But we must be able to hold, and in order to hold the certain people accountable, you have to have the wherewithal to deal with it. Amber Alert.
Yes, I'm having an Amber Alert here too, where we have an Amber Alert where 2 persons is missing.
Kidnapped.
Go ahead, Dr. Francis.
Let me tell you something, see? We have to talk more and sensitize the public and to get their involvement. I'm going to have to expand my Twitter base, expand it and start talk. If I would never was talking before, I'm going to be talking no again.
Yes.
Because I'm not afraid. Okay? Because if you love Jamaica, you will try to fix Jamaica. If you don't, then we are going to be in a big quagmire. Okay? My brother, there's a thing called a balm in Gilead. But we need a balm in Jamaica. Right? We need to get some, once upon a time, people is afraid for Oberman, I'm sorry, we not have a couple of Oberman for set on some of them, Yes, I mean, God working too, God will work, but him taking too long. Me want some Oberman like a flood come and take with people, and earthquake, that the type of Oberman me want. Because let me tell you something, and somebody say you believe in it. I'm just saying, some of these people, to do the things that they do, whether here, there, or anywhere, they are not sound in mind and they're wicked.
They are.
If you can see a man drowning, if you can see a child don't have the wherewithal to go to school, if you can see the security forces need help and you don't do it, then something is wrong with you.
Continue talking, Dr. Francis. Let's continue talking. I'm going to do something here.
No, man, that's all right. Something is wrong with you. Right? So I want people to understand that people like me not just getting up there and talking because I want to talk. I want people to understand that we love Jamaica more than cook food. And if we don't try to do something about Jamaica, who is going to do it? Who is going to do it? Because some people don't care. But we care. And ladies and gentlemen, you might think I don't love Jamaica and I don't love you, but you're wrong if you think that way, right? I'm not seeking, I've been doing this thing for many years and I've not sought to enrich myself out of it at all. I've been on radio for at least nearly a couple of years and I've not sought to enrich myself either. And some people call me and say, you're not thinking. Of course, God has been good and provisions have been made so that we can, do what we have. I can do what I have to do. But we have to rally our friends, our neighbors, people who think like us and say, sit down. You know what? The best thing to do is to let them come to the conclusions. Don't tell them that, for example, ball corruption. Everybody said, show them methodically that 1 and 1 does not equal 2 in this instance. Show them that a policeman cannot do his work good
without proper salary,
without good money. Show them. Talk about it. Make them feel uncomfortable.
Continue talking.
Make them feel uncomfortable. Because if they don't feel uncomfortable, they are not going to do anything about it. They're going to think that we are just talking shop. We need more people out there, advocates. We need advocacy. Let me talk about one area that I know advocacy can come from, the church. I believe I'm a Christian person. I believe in all religions, by the way. Don't come and tell me about nobody's religion. I am not going to listen to you because everybody, sometimes some people wear them pants above their neighbor, some wear below their neighbor, some don't wear none at all, but that is for them business. But the point I'm trying to make is this, that church was intended, or Jesus was intended, the one that I believe in. He intended to come here and save the world by sacrificing himself. That's the gospel that got me. And I went today to a church to celebrate the 60th anniversary of Jamaica. What a lot of people don't know is that in 1962, I could understand what we were doing. We got independent, and I was very happy. I remember when the vote came for federation, yes, and federation, no. I remember that. I remember Norman Washington Manley, and I remember Bustamante. I so much wanted to be a lawyer like Norman Manley. And I was going to say something, I'm going to hold on that one. And I wanted to be a person who was flashy, like Bustamante. What a figure. But they don't make them like that no more. Right? Buster had money before he went into politics. Right? And he died. I'm sure that Lady Bustamante was fine when he passed on. Norman didn't have a lot of money. Never did, even all his law practice. Right? And if we were to look at those men, they gave a better part of their lives. And it's only Bustamante who lived to a ripe old age of 96 or 97. Norman died at 70-something, and his son died at 70-something. Right? Those guys I don't even think they went to a doctor or anything to get that checkup. Men like those were not just came about. So we need people like that, women and men like that, Louis Bennett and all that sort of. Listen to me. My mother had cancer when it was unpopular. It was in the 60s, and Them never had no way. When you get cancer, you died. And they sent her to Dr. Golden. And I'm telling you this because, you know, I want you to understand that I was in school and she was my main provider. And if anything had happened to my mother, I don't know what would have happened to me. But she was there for about a year or two undergoing what them call radiation treatment. And she recovered, thank God. But when I saw her, I didn't know she could recover. I am telling you, she looked like a sick puppy. If you ever look at a dog that's really dying, that's how my mom looked. And God was good enough that she was preserved. And the doctor who looked after her is the father of the current opposition leader, Mark Golden. His name is Professor Golden. And guess what? Professor Golden died at 75. And my mother lived until she was 90. You know what I'm saying?
I'm getting something here. Hold on for me, Dr. Francis. I'm seeing something here by senior journalist of Roots FM.
Yes.
$7 million in cash was taken from the plane. That was cash. That was crashed.
Yeah.
And nobody know where the plane, the contents of the plane disappeared to.
Yeah, we know that.
In Rocky Point.
Yeah.
So Dr. Francis, it begs to ask the question again. The level of corruption in Jamaica.
Hold on. But you're asking a rhetorical question because there's no question that there's corruption. Okay, let me ask you a question. The other day, they find some money in the constituency down there in St. James, right? And they said it was 8 million US. The next day, it was 7 million. The next day, it was 6 million. Where the money going like that? Somebody sending it out by wire? You don't get that, did you? You didn't get that one. You didn't get that one. It's okay. The fact of the matter is that brother, we listen. All the journalists, you know, we should get everybody together. And we should do a round robin and talk to everybody out there, no matter who they are. And what the people should be doing is writing to the Gleaner, writing to the Observer when they hear something wrong. Write and ask questions, you know, and then maybe we'll get some answers. Yes, in the diaspora, and then maybe they'll start taking us seriously in the diaspora. That is the situation. Oh boy, it is something. Mr. Tavares, are you there?
We do apologize. I'm trying to send the link to Wilfred Rattigan that we can have him answer. So just continue discussing for me, please.
Well, I could have done that for you. You want me to do that for you?
We're talking to Dr. Francis pertaining to the whole crime situation in Jamaica. We're going to get Wilfred Rattigan on pretty soon. We're just trying to send him the
link.
The email address that he can come on. We do apologize for this, listeners and viewers. phone acting up, you know. Try it now. You can try it now. Apologize for this, listeners. We're just trying to get Mr. Rattigan on. Dr. Francis, we do apologize to you for this. Do you believe that Dr. Francis, that the church has a lot to do with the moral decay of our country too?
I wouldn't say that they're responsible for the moral decay. I think that they need to do what they were intended to do. They need to go out there and mix with the people and deal with the people. We are a nation of, I am convinced we're a nation of Christian people, you know.
Mm-hmm.
A nation of Christian people. And what a lot of things that are going on right now is un-Christian.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that the church has to bear some degree of responsibility. I've always said that. In the task force, we have a part, that a section that is what do you call it, faith-based.
Right.
A faith-based section, large, very large. In that faith-based, we have about 50 pastors, you know, from all over the world. And the consensus is that the church has to mobilize itself, especially in Jamaica. I spoke to a gentleman, you know, I have his name, and he wrote a piece that said that the diaspora should not have a senator or whatever it was. So I challenged him, you know. It was Mr. Rattigan who challenged him, to be exact. But we challenged him. I had a very long conversation. And it's not that he opposed the idea. He just did not want it to be seen as curry favor, if you know what I mean? Meaning that whoever is appointed or would act untoward and maybe just do the workings of the government. Let me tell you this. One thing that Jamaican people love is attention and that sort of thing. And I think that, you know, people's minds can be changed because of certain things. And we're not talking about money. We're talking about status and so on, and how you're viewed. One moment for me, please. One moment.
We are having a discussion here with Mr. Francis. We're having a discussion here with Mr. Francis with the crime situation in Jamaica. Go ahead, Mr. Francis, Dr. Francis.
Yeah. So I'm saying to you that the fact of the matter is that you have to have a moral, people with moral standards and guidance that can give us guidance. And that's where the church comes in. Right? So I was telling you about this preacher. He's fearless. He has criticized almost anybody. And you're more, you know, and I'm not saying you have to be critical, but you tell people, listen to me, you have to be able to, listen, man, we have churches in every community. We should know what is going on. And we should be able to go to the bad man and say, you cannot do things that way. And if you do things that way, you can't come to my church when anything happens to you and come talk about we must bury you, for example. That can't work. Eh?
Okay.
Most of these killers and what have you, having been killed, them have some funeral, man. His presidents have still have them funeral.
And
Where
the
they get the
amount
money
of
from?
money and the amount of money that they spend on these funerals is I mean, I don't understand. I really don't understand, you know.
You don't understand. The fact of the matter is, there are more funeral parlors that maybe there's not shops in Jamaica right now. It's a big business.
And you'll be surprised, you know, Dr. Francis, the amount of big necks that is involved in these funeral parlors, you know.
I say no more. I say no more. You know, you have to have some degree of moral compass in order to build a nation. If you don't have it, moral compass comes like when you're building a house. You build it on sand, you build it on grass, or you build it on rocks. Which one is going to hold up?
We're waiting Wilfred Rattigan, former FBI agent, an attorney at law, a Jamaican citizen. He is going to come on in the next 2 minutes. I was told by him that he's going to be on the Zoom in the next 2 minutes. We do not know if Mr. Clarke from the St. Thomas Crime Prevention Unit will be coming on, because apparently there's some situation going on in St. Thomas right now that it is, you know, it calls for his attention. So hopefully we'll be getting some news pertaining to that. There's some breaking news coming out of St. Thomas. As soon as we get more details, we'll pass it on. But we're here talking to Dr. Francis, the head of the Crime Prevention Task Force, Investigation Task Force in America for Jamaica, for the Diaspora rather. We're here talking about the crime situation in Jamaica. We're going to switch gear. We're going to switch gear to solutions. What is the solutions that we can do to have a country to live, work, and raise family, to have a country we can leave for our children?
Listen, let me say, I think, is my mic on? Yes.
Yes, your mic is on.
Listen, it doesn't take rocket science to know what it is. I've never liked the idea of when we used to bring in these films from the United States. What do you call them anyway? The cable for Jamaica. I never liked it because the type of things that our young people have been exposed to, I don't think that they should be exposed to a lot of that, because I was listening to an interview with a young lady, and her mother told her that she wanted her to go to Oxford University from a young age, I think about 12. And she said she didn't know, the only thing she knew how she wanted her to get there was that the girl would commit herself to her studies. She took away her television at the time. The point I'm trying to make is this. Ask yourselves the question. Did you bring these children in the world to let them be better or worse? If you have children. Today's Mother's Day, right? And I want to salute all mothers out there, real mothers. Okay? Are we willing?
Hold on, we're going to have senior journalist Dudley Thompson joining us from Roots FM. Dudley? One moment, please. Good night, good evening, Dudley.
Good evening, I'm here, good evening.
Yes, you were saying something on YouTube. What were you saying?
Yeah, well, Good evening. I
Dudley,
heard the other
Dudley,
guest. Good evening, Mr. Good evening to Dr. Rupert Francis.
Yes.
Dudley, can you turn off the TV or something you have in the background there, please?
All right, all right. I heard you saying something. It was about the plane crash in Rocky Point, and I was saying that the police made a statement about on Friday, saying that they were asked about what give an update on the investigation, and they were saying that since the plane crashed, the persons who were on board disappeared, left the island, so it's a closed case. And I was like, what? It's a closed case. And you talk about the corruption in Jamaica and the corruption, and I said that look at this fact now. When Donald Zeke's Phipps were taken into custody, he had on him a bag containing cash, 7 million Jamaican dollars. That cash was taken away from him, put in a police vault. Up until this day, the cash cannot be found, and it's also a closed case. So these are the practices that Jamaica are going. I mean, a plane invade your airspace, crash land in a swamp in your country. Occupants disappear. It's a closed case. Police held on to a quote-unquote unwanted man, are done, so to speak. He had cash on him. The cash was taken from him, placed in a police vault, and up until this day, the cash cannot be located, and it's also a closed case. That is total. There's something wrong with this country. Wrong with the country.
We have with us now Wilfred Rattigan. He's a former FBI agent and a Jamaican. He's an attorney at law. Mr. Rattigan, do you want to answer what this caller is saying, Dudley Thompson from Roots FM is saying?
Yeah, I just got the last piece. I think he was talking about police corruption, about cases being closed and money disappearing, right, and the plane landing. Yeah. But
yes, just for you. If you can recall, some years ago, the police held a Donald Zeke's Phipps, and when he was apprehended, he had on him cash, totaling 7 million Jamaican dollars. The cash was taken from him and placed in a police vault. The cash disappeared up until this day. Right. No account, like it's a closed case. And also the plane that crash landed in, just imagine, an aircraft from Mexico invade Jamaican airspace. Crash landed in a swamp. Occupants were not found. Also an empty plane. And the police said, since the occupants left the island, it's also a closed case. I mean, this just look something wrong with that. Something is wrong.
Well, look, regarding the plane, I've been beating that drum now for several months, close to a year. I think it happened about a year ago. And I agree with you completely. The idea that you can have a plane invading Jamaican, violating Jamaican airspace, and nothing from the military, nothing from civil aviation, nothing from the representative that's sitting in Southcombe in Florida. Hello?
Yes, I'm hearing you. Go ahead.
I'm hearing you.
Right. And then nothing from those people who were responsible for safeguarding the airspace of Jamaica. And then the plane crashed. One of the things, I have a couple of issues with that. Apart from the fact that it violated the airspace and no one apparently knew about it. But I would like to know, where's the black box on that plane? Because the black box would give you information concerning the flight itself and any communication between the pilot and the various air traffic controllers, the airspace that he had to go through to get there. Now, the black box is not something that you just, you do.
Yeah, I think we're losing Mr. Rattigan.
The black box would tell you. Black box would tell you give you all of that information about flight and any kind of communication that they had. The other thing is that You can't tell me that nobody saw these people coming out of the aircraft. And then the best thing we can get from the government is a few weeks later that they have left the country. How did Mr. Chang know that they had left the country? And isn't it his job to apprehend these people and to conduct an investigation? And it's not only the Minister of National
Security,
as my good buddy. Yeah, as a good buddy.
Minister of National Insecurity and Injustice. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, because what happened is that, you know, we have no information, and I have a theory about these things, and my theory is that if you can identify one, is more than one. It's almost like roach theory. If you see a roach, first time you see a roach, don't think that's the only one there. Many more. So my theory is that these planes have been coming to Jamaica constantly, right? Constantly. And nothing has been done. And this time, you know, fortunately, we have the evidence now because the plane crash landed, and the government is telling us a bunch of foolishness that people left the country and we don't know. We don't got black box. We don't know who the occupants. We don't know the cargo. We know nothing.
But Mr. Rattigan.
Can I ask a question, Mr. Rattigan?
Go ahead.
Mr. Rattigan.
Yes, sir.
All right. One quick question. All right. Regarding the plane, you know, all we knew so far is that the plane came from Mexico, right? But my thing is there the plane carries some sort of either model number or serial number, and maybe there's a record as to where the plane left from, who was the pilot? Would that be traced back based on any model number and thing on the aircraft?
Well, the argument that we're led to believe what we're led to believe is not that the plane came from Mexico, but that it's registered in Mexico. So at this point, nobody can tell us where the plane came from, but they said the tail number is registered in Mexico. So I mean, that's easy because what happened in the diplomatic circles, they could easily reach out. Minister of Foreign Affairs could easily reach out to their counterparts and find out. But
Mr. Rattigan,
all the information.
But Mr. Rattigan, don't you think that air traffic control can see where the plane literally coming from? They can trace it.
They can see the direction.
Yes.
They can see the direction, but they can't tell where the plane originated from, especially if it's coming from a faraway place. They can't tell where it's actually, because, you know, they can fly around and come from a different angle. So they really can't tell where the plane originated from. They can tell the direction it came from, but not even that we're getting. Not even that we're getting. And in fact, I read something recently that said a top police officer said that the fact that they're not conducting an investigation tells you that the case is insignificant. There's nothing going on.
So another thing that Mr. Thompson just said, that Zeke's, a notorious Don, was locked up how many years ago? And
Right.
he had $7 million on him. It was locked
in cash.
In cash. It was locked into a police vault and it disappeared. Take out and walk out.
Like it's a closed case.
You know, but hold on.
It's a
Hold
closed
on.
case.
Gentlemen. Why, you know, all I want to know is why are you so surprised? I don't understand it. You know that money walk in Jamaica and money talk, money. I mean, you know all these things?
Where's your car?
Let me just say something, and I agree
Yes,
with my colleague.
It's just the brazen nature of this one, because it is public knowledge. It is public knowledge that when he was apprehended, he had the cash on him. It was public knowledge that the cash was placed in a police vault. And it's now public knowledge, the cash gone and the case closed.
Well, let me give you a case that's even closer. That's even closer than that. The house that they rented in Montego Bay, right? And they said they found $5 million in cold hard currency, US and Canadian. And I told a friend of mine, I said, watch and see how that number going to dwindle. And if you remember, they said that it's approximately $5 million, right? Canadian.
No, 8 million. It was 8 first.
Eight. Right. And then they said, but we don't have we can't count it right now. We have, almost like they're telling you that they have to do a hand count, right? And I know that the Bank of Jamaica, they have money counting machines, so that would be easy. You know, that they could easily do that. No, the number is down to 3 million, from 8 million to 3 million.
Wasn't it 600 million that said the other day?
No, it was 8. It was 8, then it went to 5, then it went to 3.
It's 8 million US times 150 multiplied, and you get the amount of Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And that's not to mention the cocaine.
The police, all right, let's give you all right. The police was asked about that on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And they gave a sort of their things that the media was giving figures before the count started. They said a media house called the police and they said we cannot give you a figure right now until we do the counting. And to their surprise, the media went out and put a figure out there that was coming from the police. What they're saying is that the figure of 8 million, it wasn't a police figure, it was a media figure. That's what they're saying.
So hold on there now, hold on there. How would the media, if the media call the hierarchy of the police force, okay,
Yes.
and they come out
Yes.
and say it's 8 million. So where did that media house get that $8 million from?
No, they're saying that figure was like is something the media house was confident just make a story. That's what they're technically saying.
Gentlemen, my question is, why are we surprised at the results of these situations? Because it is quite, I'm saying there's a Houdini somewhere. Don't you get what I'm saying? Jamaica Houdini, right? Disappearing act. Okay? And so the question we have to ask ourselves is that, are we going to sit idly by and allow people to give us these stories, whether it's media, police, anybody, and we accept it? And for those persons who do not wish to call them out, we are going to say, listen, you need to hang up your media badge and throw it away. But they may be afraid too.
No, you know why, Dr. Francis? You have a lot of media houses in this country who is in the pockets of politicians, you know. And it is blatant to see the blind, as what my mother always said. My adopted mother always said to me, the blind can see and the dumb can even talk, and when it, you know. The level of corruption in this country is appalling. I must welcome Owen Brown from Roots FM, who just joined in the Zoom link, the Zoom conversation. Owen, good night to you, sir. Welcome to the conversation, sir.
Yes, good night, and good night to you, UK, our panelists. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
So we will have senior journalists on the phone with us, Owen.
Oh, I was hearing part of what he was saying, man. Yeah, man, bless up yourself, early. Yeah, man, giving the right information.
Yeah.
Yes. But you know, Dr. Francis.
Yeah.
You are in charge of a very big organization in the sense of, you know, to see where we can come together to solve give suggestions to solve the crime and corruption situation in Jamaica. As I said to you before, I think maybe Sir Rattigan can answer this. How much money does the police force or the National Security Ministry get from governments around the world? Maybe from the European Union, from the American government, the Canadian government, and the British government.
My understanding is that they get tens of millions of dollars, right? And I think it wasn't too long ago. I think it was last year where the minister, I think it was last year, February, Minister Chang at a press conference, and he made it clear that he had an initiative he was working on for the past 2 years, and it's going to go until, I think, fiscal year 2022, 2023. And he said he had received somewhere in the amount of 1-point-something billion with a B, US dollars. And I keep asking, where is that money being spent? And the closest thing I can get to an answer is that, well, it was repurposed because of COVID. because of COVID, they had to use some of the money and do this and do that. And I've been asking for an accounting of these funds, and to date, no adequate answer. So,
but Mr. Brother Rattigan, you know something? Why, we have spoken about all these things, right? And my view is that how do you make them change? Because they're not going to change until they catch somebody with them hand in the real till, which is, you know, I'm not being doubtful. And the organization, okay, let's deal with solutions. How can we need the help of the people of Jamaica. We need the help of the diaspora to demand that things are, what should I say, more open and more transparent, right? On both sides of the shores, whether here, there, or wherever. If we don't get that, I mean, because we don't have the wherewithal right now, the funds and all that to generate or do our own investigations as yet, but the time will come. But I'm going to say this to you, that we need people with a conscience, just like how we go on, because we're not here to advance ourselves. We're here to say to them, how can we advance Jamaica? How can we make it a better place to live, work, according to the 2030 pronouncement? And my view is that we need more people to call in, more people to actually make a commitment, as we have made a commitment, to talk about it and to make it plain. We need more people. That's where I think we have to start. Okay? Because without that, we don't have a leg to stand on, because these things are going to happening every day. They're going to give excuses about where the money is. So if we can find the facts about the money and follow the money, so to speak, as you're always saying, Brother Rattigan, follow the money. Don't you think we'd get some better results?
well, the thing is this, until we, and I don't want to make it sound derogatory, but until there's a re-education of the Jamaican populace, I think we're just going to be like a talk shop. We can identify the issues and we can talk about the issues, but the people in Jamaica, they're the ones who are going to have to make a difference, because being in the diaspora,
yes,
because being in the diaspora, I mean, they see us as to a large degree, they see us as foreigners, and they can create that.
They see you all as milking tree.
Right, and they can create that distance between. They create that distance between us and them, and they also create a chasm, because when you talk to the ordinary Jamaican about the diaspora, he has no regard for the diaspora, so to speak, right? Yes, he has regard for the person sending him money as an individual, but as a group, it's like, you know, we don't really count, because we don't have any power. Because power is at the ballot box, is in voting or through influence peddling, which means you have to have a lot of money. And we're not doing that. We're not trying to bribe anyone, because we don't want to be accused of the same thing that we're accusing them of. So we're not doing that. So what happens is that programs like this program, that they need to be broadcast down in Jamaica, so that the ordinary man in the street can hear, listen, and understand, and can take a stand. Because for the most part, they don't know what's going on. And until they know what's going on, and then they can bring pressure to bear on the politicians, then you won't see a change. For example, we have a program, and I say we because I'm a part of it. It's called Waterhouse Vibes, and it covers the constituency of Mr. Anthony Hilton. And what we do is we have him on speed dial. We have him come on the program and answer the tough questions. And I wish we could see that program being transplanted across the island, where you bring the politicians in and you hold them accountable. Because otherwise, there's a sense that the politicians are demigods, they're kings and they're queens. And so the people are powerless. We bow down to them. It should be the other way around. If we don't like them, we'll vote them out. But the Jamaican voting population, and by the way, I think it's less than 35% who voted in the last.
Yes. 25 for the government and 10-15 for the opposition.
Right.
Let me say this to you, Brother Rattigan. I was on a meeting with the lady who's the head of education, the MP there. She
Fable
was in the
Williams.
meeting. Huh?
Fable Williams.
Fable Williams. She was in the meeting just like how Anthony Littleton was. And so, these people requested their MP. They need to start doing that. You understand me? And what you see what happened in Denham Town, for example, I think it is Mark Golden's constituency. And I would, if I were to advise him,
No.
It's Angela Brownberg?
Desmond McKenzie.
Desmond McKenzie? Okay, fine.
Yeah.
All right, fine. Okay.
And him come from down there.
Exactly. So what I'm trying to say, okay, well, I apologize, Mark Golden. I thought it was wrong. Listen, what I'm trying to say to you is that, okay, here's a situation whereby, you have some people behaving like this. And now that you tell me where it is, I can kind of understand maybe the tenacity of the persons who were there and why they felt they could behave that way. The fact of the matter is, we have to ask those people, those MPs, to go down there and deal with their people as well, have community sessions. Because if they don't, the church, I was saying earlier as well too, why is it the churches are not active in this regard? Because,
you know why, Dr. Francis? And a lot of people don't like when me talking.
Okay.
But you see, I'm a very plain and straightforward person. You see, like how the PNP dead?
Yes.
The churches are dead in this country. And you know why churches are dead in this country? You have an organization named the Umbrella Group of Churches, and one named the Jamaica Council of Churches. All of them is in the pocket of politicians. Because when they're having national prayer breakfast, it's the elite of the vumvuvu and the vumvuvi. Go to that prayer breakfast. If you're having a prayer breakfast, you invite all the churches in this country.
Of course, you should.
No, it's not all the churches they invited, because there are some churches in this country don't know about any prayer breakfast. It's when they see it on TV or radio, or listen on radio.
Look.
So the churches in this country, they're dead.
No. Hold on. Listen, you see, I will agree with you to the extent that the churches are non-functional. That's what I would call it. But they have a lot of clout and they do not even understand it. We have to demand, because, it's people who are supporting these churches, that they act, because they have clout.
Mr. Francis, don't you realize that the majority of the churches in this country is a money-making thing? You have some of the pastors, all they want is give you all to the altar of sorrow.
Well, Brother Tavares, I tell you all the time, your name is very confusing. Because anyway, I'm only messing with it. The fact of the matter is, though, that, ladies and gentlemen, I've said it before, and I know that Brother Rattigan has heard me, and I'm those two gentlemen that are on here right now. The role of the churches has to be different going forward. They have the greatest access. We have 1,000 churches island-wide. They have, and many of them want, so we have to find a way to actualize, to make the churches do what they're supposed to do, or to cause them to do.
Until politics comes out of the churches in this country, it's not going to happen.
Well, not all the churches are political. I can't believe that all of them are political.
Can I just butt in a second there?
Yeah, go ahead.
When you were growing up in Jamaica in the 70s, church had a level of respect then, when I was a child. But since the last 20 years, people don't see the church the same as before. Like for example, now, there's a trial going on right now in Jamaica, a big trial, one done gang going on now. And among the young members is a female pastor.
The wife of a prominent bishop too. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead. Hallelujah.
Is one of the, and one of the members said she was there planning a murder one night as well. She had to go to church in the morning. It's kind of murder in the night, I go to church in the morning. So you can understand, say, if you go to a church, no. to say for the service. It was every time talking to a pastor, every time talking to a gangster. So the church
Well,
don't have the respect like what it had. And again, you have these we call them, I keep on calling these quote unquote ministries and pop up lately. And you are giving the good godly church bad name.
You know,
yes.
Dudley. I'm gonna let you go ahead, Doctor Francis. But you know something, the present Custis for the parish of Westmoreland, Custis Herman Perrin, said something, and that everybody take him a task. He said you have some hurry come up pastors, fly by night, pitch by day, and it's the truth.
And those are the ones who are giving the good church bad name. Like the quacking man to go be.
But listen,
Those
listen, but listen, when you have
church
established,
Churches.
denominations, right?
Right.
Like the Seventh-day Adventists and the Catholic Church and all those.
Yeah.
You know,
Methodist.
and the Methodists. Yeah. How come we're not hearing from them? You know,
That's
I
the
understand that we have the quack, but how come we're not hearing from those? Because they garner most of the support in Jamaica. The Seventh-day Adventists, the Jehovah's Witness, the Catholic Church, the Methodists. How come we're not hearing from those people?
Right.
All
We
right.
need.
All right. I'm going to take you back just a bit in history. When Jamaica was hit by the hurricane in 1950, the group that was tasked with giving out the welfare to Jamaicans was the Adventist Church. And in 1950, if it was an Adventist, you could get any support back then.
If it wasn't a who?
Adventist.
Seventh-day Adventists.
So you're saying to me, if it
they were the ones who they were the ones who were going to give out the recovery like we call the food package now. We call the food package.
The care
back
packages.
In 1950. Care packages, yes. And it was Adventist those days. They couldn't get one.
Well, gentlemen, let me explain something.
So this thing started long time.
But what I'm okay. When was the last time you saw an article in either of the newspapers or anything asking the churches, demanding that the churches be more accountable? When?
That's a very good question.
So we have a role to play. We have a role to play as journalists or whatever. We have a role to play. We need to say to these people, look, enough is enough. Do your job.
But Dr. Francis, let me say something to you. This program here in Make We Talk, I have invited the president of the Jamaica Council of Churches. I've invited the president of the umbrella group of churches. One time him come on. The next time I invite him, he doesn't want to come on. He doesn't come on.
Well,
because hold on, Dudley. Because you see me, you call a spade a spade. And I will say this again. The umbrella group of churches and the Jamaica Council of Churches, they're all a bunch of hypocrites. They're in the backs of politicians. Go ahead, Dudley.
Well, Jeffrey, I got to go one step further. You remember some years ago when the Prime Minister, Mr. Patterson, wanted to attack the church? Remember them? And it was a big outcry in Jamaica. Remember some years ago?
Mm-hmm. They should tax them now.
You know why I wanted to do that? Because it came to the fore that most of the churches in Jamaica, they're registered as a business. And once you're a business license, you must pay tax. It's simple, right? Look at this now. You use your church, and I can tell this. I went to a church recently, and I saw them in the name of the church on the wall. The name of the church. When they went into the pastor office, I saw the name of the church, and they said that it's my company limited. So the person wanted to put on the wall, the limited on the wall, but they objected because they didn't want to appear to the member that they're doing their business, and they objected to that limited being on the building. But in the office now, on the certificate in the office, you see my church of so and so company limited. So actually, they are running their business. That's about winning souls, it's about making money.
You know,
That's just the reality.
I have I have Owen here online. I'm gonna ask Owen. Owen, give your input now before I go to Mr. Rattigan. Mr. Rattigan. Obi, are you there? Anyway, so Rattigan, give your input until Owen
what I
comes.
think is that what you're witnessing is a breakdown in society. It's not just the church, but today I had a very long conversation with a dear friend of mine, and we're talking about the days when soldiers used to come out, and when they come out, they used to have, people used to give them so much respect, because we used to say that,
Right.
boy, the man they're training, I know, and they're up at camp, I know, want them come out the street, you know, because they are take them away from what them supposed to do, and that's all them train. And soldiers used to get so much respect, and now soldiers don't get no respect, because soldiers now as part of the police force. Because them have them now with Zozo, and them have them now, them deputize them, and them have them out with the curfew and this and that. So what happened is familiarity breeds contempt. People start see them, and people start associate them with the police and start treating them like them police. And then them in turn act like them, like how the police act, with brutality and force, and no respect for human dignity and rights. So what we're actually witnessing is a decline, steep decline. It's a steady decline, but now it's a steep decline of morals and values in the society. And it starts at the top. Starts at the top. When you don't have leadership that is responsible, that is attentive, honest, that is forthright. When you have leadership that is corrupt, that is going to cascade. That is going to cascade down to the other man in the street. And when that man is looking at the PM, for example, and without leveling any charges at the PM, just for the sake of this conversation, when he's looking at the PM and say, wait a minute, but my PM, he's committing crimes and nobody's prosecuting, then if I commit crime, nobody shouldn't really, and it's a steady and a steep decline of values and morals. So it's not just the church, it's also law enforcement, it's civil society, it's everywhere. The respect that we had for law enforcement growing up in the 60s and the 70s, that respect is gone. And I don't know if we'll ever, I don't like to use the word never, but I don't know if we are able to recapture that. It's going to take a lot of time, and it's going to take a lot of doing.
Well.
Go ahead, Dr.
I just want to say that the reason why we said that before, Wilfred, not as astutely and as clear as you have said it, but we said it earlier. I was asked the question, why are they treating the soldiers like that? No. And the truth is that when I joined, we were really hailed as saviors, that is the military. And, we were welcomed out there, It was joy to get the arm, because when the soldiers came out, the people felt that they would get a better deal. I think it's a question of training. Training has changed over the years. Our attitude towards discipline and this familiarity, as you said, breeds contempt. Having them out there for those long periods of time, without a break, and they can do what they want, they can do how they want it, they can fraternize with the ladies down there, etc. And that causes a lot of issues, because they're seeing them as equals, and then all of a sudden they want to exert themselves and so on. So maybe that's why these people are so angry. We also need to do some more community outreach, and as Brother Rattigan was saying, that we need to get into the communities, and the top and the bottom, we need to involve, and the people must understand that government is not the people that were elected. Government is the people who elect the people. They don't understand that, right? And it is who gets paid first who seems to be the most active and the most vicious. So there's a lot of work and a lot of education to be done, and I think it starts with looking at the whole situation. But we have to formulate some strategy in which, and I believe that the first strategy must be to ask questions of the public through the public forums like Gleaners, the newspapers, the radio shows, and the TV, so that the Council of Churches and what have you they will have to decide to do something, or they will be vilified. That's how I see it.
Before we wrap up here, I have a question to ask both Dr. Francis and our good friend here, Sir Rattigan. If you, yes, you have to have that system in place, because in any country you go, it is there. But if you have an overburdened system where you have managers for the tire, managers for the nut, managers for the wiper, managers for the bumper, managers for the indicator and the headlamp. I'm speaking of the JUTC. You're spending taxpayers' money, billions and billions of dollars every year to subsidize what they want to call it, JUTC. And the both political party in this country have their friends and cronies inside JUTC, overburden JUTC. They even have managers driving, the managers, they even have driver driving them around, you know. A couple of foot all pan Prado dashboard. Now do nothing. Now the question I want to ask you, Dr. Francis and Mr. Rattigan. If you is the Minister of Transportation, and you're saying that the JUTC needs some new buses, and the JUTC not making any profit, but they keep on giving it billions and billions of dollars, what would you do? And they are the thief fuel from there, and then thief down to the very fuel and thieving from there. All down to the very nut and the thief. And they have managers for every almighty God thing over there. What would you do if you were the Minister of Transportation in this country with JUTC?
But you want to go first, Raddy?
I'll yield to you, my brother.
No. Well, first of all, as I say, you need management, but I don't think when you see a group of people have so many managers, that's a big wake-up call. You know, they're wasting money, and that's how they do well. And it happened in the waste management, if you remember. There's just big exposés on that. Anything that government touches, government has to be streamlined. Government has to have some degree of, what should I say, structure, transparency, and accountability. And if we don't hold their feet to the fire, and the minister himself obviously not doing that, because let me tell you something, waste is a big part of the Jamaican life. But we have been talking about this and talking about that. But look at the toll road. I just want to say, go to the toll road just before we end. There is a situation where we spend billions of dollars for this, and we have to be paying these people for toll. And our people, like our police or fire and so on, cannot drive on it without at all. That is a big travesty in itself. And that nobody has approached that to fix it. I believe that the population of Jamaica, first of all, I think that we should withhold all monies from the United States. No investment, no money going down to Jamaica, to be quite honest with you, until Jamaicans understand that we matter and we are Jamaicans too, right? Because
go ahead.
That would be one of my solutions. They're gonna hate me, but it's okay. The fact of the matter is that we should not be giving funds to a country who does not appreciate us. Okay, that's my view. Okay, and we unless we can hold them accountable for the monies. Okay, and whenever we get monies from abroad to support the police and other organizations, it should be accountable because it's public money once it reaches their hands. That's my solution.
Well, going back to the question, if I were the Minister of Transportation, right, how would I handle the JUTC?
Mm-hmm.
Question I would ask before answering that is under which government? And the reason why I ask that question is because I wouldn't be effective under none of the two parties. Because here's why. Those managers were managing other managers. It's cronyism. And you cannot tell me that the government doesn't, the highest elements of the government that they don't understand what's going on and they don't know about this. This is, as far as I'm concerned, this is political trade-off. This is political payback, right? This is to keep the members of the fold happy. And I wouldn't be of service to any party as Minister of Transportation, because I would be a renegade. I wouldn't listen to no talk from the PM or the deputy PM. I would just go ahead and say, listen, this is not about party. This is not about politics. This is about people, the people of Jamaica, the taxpayers, so that they get a bang for their buck. And so I would clean that place out. And it wouldn't go over well, I'm telling you. It wouldn't go. I wouldn't be a good public servant in any political party in Jamaica right now. I wouldn't, because they're going to want to tell me how I should act. So forget about transparency and accountability and responsibility, right? Those are just theories, because the way the government operates right now, and when I say the government, I mean in both parties when they're in power, is that they have their own agenda, and people are not free. The ministers are not free, and some of them, they don't want to be free either, because they're part of the cronyism. They're not free to make independent decisions that's in the welfare of the people. They're not about that, because if they do that, then they can't make money. If they do that, if the politicians in Jamaica should take a stand like the politicians in Singapore and start cleaning up the corruption, they wouldn't make any money. They wouldn't make any money. And so they're looking out for their own self-interest. And the only way I see this changing is the people of Jamaica have to get involved, whether it's the church people, civil society, academicians, the people of Jamaica from whatever sector. They have to get involved and say, look, a change is necessary and a change is going to come unless we get the result, because we put you in there to serve. And as far as we're seeing, the only people that you guys are serving, and girls, you're serving yourselves. I mean, you can't tell me that a politician in Jamaica never had a job before getting into politics and getting like 5,000 US a month, which is $60,000. And then him can build $1 million house. And then him can have a fat bank account in America. Him can have the latest model Mercedes. Him can take 2, 3, 4, 5 personal trips a year and have all the trappings of wealth. Where'd that come from? So to answer your question, I wouldn't be the guy to answer that question. I can't answer that question because I wouldn't succumb to the directives of the government. I wouldn't. And they know that. So a guy like me, they would never pick a guy like me to head any ministry at all. They wouldn't, because they know that they can't talk to me. I talk to them.
I see there's a question here on the YouTube channel by Miss Elizabeth Bennett. Actually, she's Elizabeth Tavares Bennett. She's my auntie. She said, why so many foreigners can own business in Jamaica and the Jamaican citizens can't own their own business because of too much red tape? And that's a good question, because the former Prime Minister, Lady Lucretia Simpson Miller, she was the one who ended up signing some things with the Chinese, where the Chinese they can come to Jamaica and own business tax-free. That's a good question.
When you say foreigner, oh no, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. Mr. Foreigner.
When you say foreigner, you have to distinguish whether it's the diaspora or you're talking about foreign investment with like a foreign government.
I think she meant the foreign investors.
You mean like
they have a leeway can get in, but you as a Jamaican citizen who's in the diaspora to come in to own a business, is that a red tape?
Yeah, part of that, I'm just trying to make an argument for them, them meaning the government. They would say, well, if the Chinese government is coming in and they're going to invest, $2 billion US, right? We have to make it easy for them to do it, because that's going to prop up the economy. Whereas if you as a single man coming in and you're going to do a business, we're going to make, 200,000 US or whatever a year, they're saying, well, we can't really lift the red tape or lift the requirements. That's all they call the bureaucracy requirement. We can't lift the requirements for you because they're there for a particular reason. But for a government, or a large investor coming in, like if Bill Gates wanted to come in and say, look, I'm going to invest $1 billion in Jamaica, you think they're going to give him any problems? They're not going to give him any problems, because what the government and any government will say, they're going to say, well, he's going to provide jobs, he's going to provide security for people. It's going to prop up the economy, and so you know they look at it from an economic standpoint, without even looking at what the man is investing. If it's good for not only for the economy but for the health of people, because you know health standards they're gone through. You know, people they don't even care about health anymore down in Jamaica. Anybody can do it.
You know, but I'm saying to you that one of the things I said sometime earlier and you didn't get and I understand where you're coming from. No, they would not have you as the minister, Wilfred. We know that, and that's so. I was just trying to make it easy for you, because they think it would be dangerous. I don't think so, but they think so. I want to say that's why we have to concentrate on building our organizations here in the United States, and it's happening. Building it to a point where we can do the same type of negotiation as the Chinese, and you know, we can get because I'm telling you, they're not going to listen to us until we have clout, and money is clout. Simple. And they're really not. And I've proven that so many times. They don't have to, because they can just get up and come up here and get their groups together, talk to them, mobilize them, and they're happy, and everybody else up there is happy and cozy. And guess what? They forget all that has happened in Jamaica. I see it every day. So, yes. Dr. Rattigan is going to have a hard time. I'm going to have a hard time. And so that's why I think right now, but we have to work harder. We have to be more resilient. Yes.
Well, Doctor, let me ask you this question. Part of that is a reflection of our failure, because when I say our failure, I mean the diaspora, because we don't speak with a single voice. We're fractured to some degree. Right, yes. And you have, and part of that is the government's ability to permeate the group and influence certain people. Right. And not to mention the fact that as of the last election, they can now select people to the diaspora, which before I thought that they didn't have any say in terms of who would represent the diaspora. So part of that is that that we don't speak with a single voice, and they know it. So what I was thinking, and someone mentioned this to me, is that if we come out with a pronouncement saying that, listen, public pronouncement saying that we're not going to support, we're going to influence and convince people not to invest or not to do anything in Jamaica for a year, until we get some movement, some traction at the table, until we're seen as part of Jamaica and recognize the fact that we have input as well. They may not even want to take what we're saying to heart and do anything with it, but at least give us a hearing. Right now, we don't even get a hearing. You know, we're shut out completely. So what do you think about that idea of at least segments of the diaspora saying, hey, you know what, we're going to go out and we're going to start telling people, don't put any money down in Jamaica?
Yeah, but, you know, I'm for that. And I've been for that, especially recently that I realized what they're doing. And yes, I'm for that, absolutely. But we have to have a strategy. We have to work on a strategy, because diasporans must understand that we have a lot of people have things in Jamaica that have land in Jamaica that they're afraid to go to, houses that they're afraid to occupy. It is crazy the amount of resources that are down there that are owned by diasporans. And what these guys are even doing down there now is trying to take away the things that people have down there. Right? We have to mobilize ourselves. We have to get together, and we have to stop dividing ourselves, and we have to work as one. You're quite right. I'm with you on that.
And on that point, Doc, let me Jeff. Let me just ask.
Go ahead.
Yeah. In terms of the influence, right? One of the things that we've been fighting for several years now with the government. Well, not a fight, but we've been pushing the government on is the representation in the Senate. No, we've been promised a seat by both parties, and going back well over 10 years.
Yes.
But the one thing that they haven't done is no party has put forward a bill, because to get representation in the Senate, you have to have a bill or some constitutional amendment, right? Something has to be done in Parliament. And so far, None of the two parties. They've both promised us that yes, you guys, you know, they've acknowledged and they've promised, but none of them has taken the affirmative action of putting the bill to say, okay, all right, we're really serious about you guys getting representation. Here's the bill. How do you, as the leader of a significant diaspora group, how do you plan to address that with the leader? With the government and with the opposition?
Well, first of all, the government has been on the move recently, and they have been very, very active. But we plan to go to we go to the opposition. They are going to be here in another few weeks, and they're going to start doing some work out there in the, what should I say, in against what is going on right now in the society, and we're going to see if we can get the opposition to work with us on that in that regard. It's going to be a humdinger of an approach, but I do believe that we can have some degree of influence on that. That's all I can say.
Well, listen, the thing is, you're more diplomatic than I, because I don't think we can be diplomatic on this issue, because this is an issue that has been decided already. So I don't even think we can soft pedal it. I think we need to say to them, when are you going to put this bill? It's that simple. When? We just ask both of them, when are you going to put up the bill?
Yes, I agree with you. We need to write some strong opinions out there and get it moving. We just need to do that. And if we can get some strong opinions, then I think we get somewhere.
Look, but you have the Prime Minister making these beautiful speeches about the diaspora should come home and they should invest and they should this and they should
exactly
that. But then then when you touch the issue of representation, they say, oh yeah, we support the idea. Well, if you support the damn idea, put the bill.
Exactly.
Put the bill. I remember in 2016, I was sitting in that town hall meeting in Queens, New York, when he had gotten into power, the JLP had gotten into power, I think February of 2016. But prior to that, in 2015, the Minister of Tourism, can't remember his name.
Edmund Bartlett.
Mr. Bartlett. In 2015, he was the opposition spokesperson on foreign affairs. And he said, yes, the diaspora should have a seat. I see no reason why they shouldn't have a seat in the Senate. That was 2015. 2016, they took over the reins of power. And in September, they took it over in February 2016. And in September 2016, I was sitting in the front row of that hall. And I remember the Prime Minister talked about voting, and he talked about representation. And he said, we welcome these ideas, and we're going to put some mechanisms in place so that the diaspora can actually vote and also have representation in the Senate. That's 2016. So if that guy, if he was really, really serious, and if Kamina Johnson, if she was really serious, right, instead of running around or trying to become Secretary of the Commonwealth, she would pay attention to this. This is supposed to be this was a priority issue before the present issue of her becoming Secretary of this organization. 2016, I can't really count that well, but I think that come up to about 6 years now. You tell me it takes 6 years to submit a bill to Parliament? Something that you say you care about?
Well, well, I agree with you, but the fact of the matter is that they really don't really care. As I said, we have to make advocacy. We need an overwhelming advocacy. We need it from the population. We need it from everybody. We need everybody to understand it's not just us about it. We have to have a fundamental shift in what is going on. Right now, without we get that, we're not going to go anywhere. We have to get that fundamental shift.
I say when they come, and they've come, and they will continue to come because they see the diaspora as a cash register for various reasons, including election financing. I say when they come, somebody, I'm not saying you that, but somebody of significance, or somebody who holds a significant position in one of these diaspora organizations should stand up and tell them, listen, if you don't put that, and give them a timetable, say, no, look, man, it's 6 years. Well, it's more than 6 years, but 6 years since this government openly proclaimed that they support the idea. He said 6 years. It doesn't take you 6 years to submit a bill to Parliament. So we're going to give you another year or another 6 months, whatever the time period is. And after that, we have to just part company. It's that simple.
Totally right.
It's the same way they promise the Jamaican people out here that tomorrow morning I give you a whole school of chicken to raise, and yet they import chicken. So whoever raises chicken can't sell the chicken in Jamaica. They keep on promising the diaspora the same thing,
Right. My father used to tell me, because every time he would say, do something, I said, I promise you I'm going to do it, Daddy. I promise I'm going to do it. And he looked at me one day and said, I promise is a comfort to a fool.
Comfort to a fool.
Yes. Well, we've been fools for far too long. And it's time we wake up now, because it's not like we're still in the dark. The light has clearly illuminated the issues. And so we need to be courageous enough and take a stand and let these people know that the game is over. You either do what you say you're going to do, or just tell us that we're not interested in doing it. Just come out and say it. But we have it. Yeah, but you can't have it both ways. They can't come and say we support it, we're going to do a mechanism for it, and then when you ask them, where's the mechanism? That mechanism is the bill. I said, where's the because the bill is going to go and then they're going to debate it and so on and so forth, right? And that sausage will get made. But it starts with submitting a bill. And no one...
Gentlemen, listen to me. We must be realistic now, Politicians in this country amend laws or put legislation to Parliament to suit themselves, not to suit the people of this country, the people of the diaspora. It's to suit themselves. They can go to Parliament and amend a bill for the needs in 24 hours or in 3 hours. But they will not go to Parliament and put a bill to Parliament and say, okay, we're going to put a member of the diaspora in the Senate. They will not do that. Until me see them do it, then I say, oh, cool.
Listen, the truth is that it can't be just one or two. It has to be a groundswell of persons that are going to be involved in this whole process. One or two organizations not going to cut it. We have to seriously organize. And with organizing means funds, commitment. Okay? It is not going to happen with just one or two voices. Yes, we have a group of people here and so on and so forth. But unless we have funds to back it up, water on a duck's back. We have to work and we have to put it together. I'm telling you, it may sound harsh, but it's true.
No, you see the issue. My concern with the issue is that we're not starting from ground level where we're trying to convince the politicians that this is the right thing to do and that they should do it. We've gone past that stage. They've said, both of them, the diaspora, you should have a seat in Parliament. They've said that. So the idea that we're going to go back and talk to them and convince them, we've gone past, and we can shove that in their faces to say to them, hey, this was discussed and it was agreed. So now the ball is in your court, guys. You need to put that bill in Parliament. So the question is, we don't need to have any more conversation. Just tell us when you're going to put that bill in Parliament and if we will be a part of the discussion. That's all. That's where we are.
We still need funds in order to move it along. We still need support to move it along. And no matter how hard we speak about it, we need the funds, Ratty. Because we have to survive. And they know that we've been doing well so far, surviving and working. But I've decided, for example, the amount of funds that I put in it, that we have to monetize some of the things that we're doing in order to get it done and to move along. Because
let me ask you this then. Let me ask you this. How much money will it take then for, because I don't understand where the money would come from, because all it would take is one member of Parliament to write this bill, right? And just submit it to the Parliament, and then the discussion will begin, right?
But we have to convince one member to do it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We convince the one member that we should be focused on is the Prime Minister, because he already said he's convinced it's the right thing to do. So I don't know how we're going to convince him more. He's already said it. He said it in 2016. He said it in 2021, and he said it in 2022. He said, "I'm convinced this is the right thing." So I don't know how. I'm trying to wrap my head around how we're going to convince him.
I think what we need to do, Sir Rattigan, and Dr. Francis, is that when the diaspora have its conference in Montego Bay, in that conference, whether it be the Prime Minister or the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, or the Minister of Tourism, when they're there chatting and chatting and chatting and chatting, if you don't hear that comes in their speech, when the speech is about it, then somebody get up and say, look here, hold on, sir, with all due respect to you. I know a lot of people gonna say Jeffrey can't do it or whatever. That's against protocol or whatever. But until we can say to them, listen, you have made all these speeches, these beautiful speeches, where in your speech you had something to say that we're gonna have the diaspora sitting in the Jamaican Parliament. They're calling for we're gonna go republic. Is it that they're gonna amend the constitution to suit us, that in the constitution there's somebody sitting in the
who has written a position piece with that in mind to indicate all of that to the the forces at hand? Who has done it? We need to do it. Okay, we need solution wise. We have to be able to do it so that we can get the consensus from both parties that we should have had before.
Here's my concern about that, right? Again, we're taking a step back. They've already agreed that this is the right thing to do. So let them put the bill. Because here's what happened. If you fall into the trap of submitting a position paper, guess what? Every time you ask them, they say, we're reviewing your position paper. We're reviewing it. We're discussing it. We have some options. And that's going to take years. If you said to them, look, we don't need a position paper because you already agreed to it. So just put the bill in and let's go from there. That's my position. That if you give them something, anything you give them on a piece of paper, they're gonna say we're gonna review it. And especially if you say, oh, this is for review between the government and the opposition, that's gonna take years. But if you short circuit it and say, no, we don't need a position paper because the position has been staked out already.
All right, let us get the facts, the truth, when these were said and these promises were made, and let us then put together an argument to send to them to say the time is now. I think that's where we should go. Right?
And
we
that
need
said,
to get I think that's where we should go.
And then that said, gentlemen,
and I'm willing to write on that. Yeah.
Okay, gentlemen, and that said, Dr. Francis, your 2 minutes final say. We're gonna wrap up.
Yeah.
Where do you see Jamaica going in the 21st century for our 2030 vision, with our crime situation out of whack, or corruption out of whack?
Well, right now, I do not see it really going to any real serious fruition until we have decided to move with one voice. We need to move with one voice, and we need to get it together now in order to get some good feedback so that we can move forward. We cannot move unless we are all together on this one, moving forward. And the Senate seems to be the key issue, the key one that we should be partnering with and working towards. So let us see. I have an intention to speak with the diaspora minister, the junior minister for diaspora, about this matter, because I had made a commitment to do that. I'm going to go talk to them about that. One of the issues. I think that would be the way forward for me anyway, and certainly Brother Rattigan and those that are part of the task force.
Rattigan?
Well, our piece of the rock is a paradise, but our paradise is in trouble. It's in steady and steep decline. And the only way I see us coming out of this is we have to empower the people. We have to re-educate the people. We have to let them understand. And I say this because with all due respect, it appears as if they don't. They have to understand that they wield the power. And if your member of parliament, regardless of the damn party, if he's not doing what he or she they were elected to do, then you just have to get rid of them. This idea that you have a safe seat, there should be no such thing in Jamaica. You have a safe seat. And, they say everything is local politics, right? And if you cannot get your local politician to do what he or she was elected to do, then how do you expect the government to do anything to help you? If the guy who represents you directly in the parliament or the girl, if they can't get it done, then why do you think that the government then is gonna get anything done? It's hopeless, and it's a shame, because you know why? We're good people. Whether we live in Jamaica or abroad, we're good people. We're proud people. We come from a good stock, and the idea that it's us against them, we need to get rid of that dividing line, because we're one people, and until we can realize that, and until we can fight for a common purpose, a common goal, we're going to have problems, and the problems, they're going to become intractable at some point in time. They're going to become, the division is going to be so severe that it's going to take generations for us to come together and unite and get the paradise back to where it formerly was, or improve upon it.
I agree with you, sir. I agree with you. All right, let's leave it until another
Thank you.
time. Thank you very much.
Dr. Francis, former JDF captain, head of the Jamaica Diaspora Crime Investigation and Prevention Task Force. Wilfred Rattigan, former FBI agent and attorney at law, son of the soil, both of them.
Indeed.
My final word in this: we need a government of the people, for the people, and by the people. Not a government of the favorite few. We the people, we the Jamaican people, must take a stand. We the Jamaican people can do this. We the Jamaican people can get rid of corruption in our country. We the Jamaican people can have a proper security system in Jamaica. And we the Jamaican people must stand up for the betterment of Jamaica and to leave a better Jamaica for our children. Until you hear my voice again on Tuesday morning at 11 o'clock on Roots 96.1 FM and Make We Talk. Like, share, and subscribe to this channel. I am Jeffrey Tavares saying God bless you. May God bless Jamaica land we love.
Thank you, my brother.
Thank you. All the best. All right,
All right.
Ratty. Take care.
Yeah, man. All right, go. Walk good.